TFC. TCF.
She doesn't even know what it is.
All right, let's let Representative Johnson continue. And please get to your question, Representative.
I will. So my question really...
What's your question? Come on. What's your question?
You, Mr. Chair, I'm going to repeat it again. These people, our guests, are sharing information, just sharing and sharing and speaking and speaking. No one is under oath. The world is watching us right now, and the world is watching right now.
Where's your question?
And there are one person after another who's testifying or who's making allegations, because that's exactly what they are, allegations of wrongdoing in the city of Detroit. I wonder, and I'm going to ask you the question, did you see any cameras at the TCF?
I didn't say Simon Says.
All right, so
Representative, I just want to remind you,
So according to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press, but 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating well into the night from that point, which is going to be about 10:25 when they all clear out, or 10:30. And they will continue counting unobserved, unsupervised, not in public view as your statute requires, until about 1 in the morning. The reason we know this is because when our Republican observers were forced to leave, they went to the Central Tabulation Center and they got word from a news crew that in fact counting had continued. They have information that not everybody left according to plan, and some people stayed behind. So this shocked them, so they returned back to State Farm Arena at about 1 o'clock in the morning, where they confirmed that in fact people had just left State Farm Arena in contravention of what they had been told by the supervisors who are running this operation. At 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Purchase your tracks today.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
I didn't say Simon Says.
Dominion Voting System was acquired by Staple Street Capital back in July 2018. 1 month before the election, UBS Securities bought $400 million worth of Staple Street Capital. The question is, who owns UBS Securities? And why would they invest $400 million into Staple Street Capital? UBS Securities is located in Beijing, China, and it is currently owned by one of the largest Switzerland banks, as well as powerful Chinese government companies. For example, Beijing State-Owned Assets Management, Guangdong Preventional Communications Group, and National Energy Group Capital Holdings. So, let's recap. 1 month before the election, a company based out of Beijing, China, that is partially owned by powerful Chinese government companies, made a $400 million investment into Dominion's parent company, Staple Street Capital. In addition, one of Staple Street Capital executive board member is William Kennard, who is a cabinet member of both Clinton and Obama administration, and was a managing director of Carlyle Group, which George Soros invested $100 million into back in 1993. Please subscribe to this channel and share this video with one of your friends. We'll see you tomorrow.
I didn't say Simon Says.
Hey everyone!
Texas Secretary of State, what if the trust you had in your republic was shattered overnight? What if the dramatic stories and scenes you watch in the comfort of your home started playing out in real life, right before your eyes? Is that what's happening? Are we living through an episode of Scandal or House of Cards? Literally overnight, Americans lost faith in the security of their elections. Middle of the night ballot dumps, glitches, and secret vote counting certainly raised suspicion. Then, things only got worse. Enter Dominion voting software. 6,000 votes. Yes, that's right, 6,000 votes switched from President Trump to former Vice President Joe Biden, in the vital swing state of Michigan, no less. Many in the media rushed to chalk this up to human error, which begs the question, why on earth are we using software that is so easily corrupted by humans? Surely, we should be able to have enough trust in our elections to believe that the folks running them are competent enough to not make a mess of things. Sadly, that doesn't seem to be the case. Don't believe me? Just look at what happened right here in my home state of Arizona. The Republican chair of the Maricopa County Republican Party, the largest county in the country, was forced to resign from her position for failing to attend a pre-election test of the county's ballot tabulation machines. And who owns those machines? You guessed it, Dominion. This isn't the first time questions have been raised about Dominion voting software. Last year, the Texas Secretary of State rejected Dominion, citing multiple hardware and software issues. And guess which state hasn't had any voting irregularities? Dominion software almost cost this man his job. Meet Michigan resident Adam Kokendorfer. Adam went to bed thinking he had lost his bid for re-election as Oakland County Commissioner, only to wake up to find out that a Dominion glitch gave his hard-fought win to his opponent. Luckily for Adam, this mistake was caught. All roads lead to Dominion, it seems. The Canadian company is one of 3 voting softwares primarily used in American elections. Oddly enough, almost every single state, down to the county that's being challenged, implements Dominion. It's reported that in 2016, Dominion voting system reached approximately 71 million voters in 1,635 jurisdictions in the U.S. According to experts, if one site has a flaw, other sites are likely to have it as well. That is terrifying, and it only gets scarier. When you dig deeper, according to Sidney Powell, a member of President Trump's legal team, Dominion software allows vote counters to switch votes. She even alleges that some leaders knowingly brought faulty software into their states and into jurisdictions, and claims there's evidence of kickbacks for officials who signed contracts with Dominion.
Substantial sums of money being given to family members of state officials who bought this software.
Mrs. Powell also alleges that Nancy Pelosi's former chief of staff became a lobbyist for Dominion, and that Dianne Feinstein's husband is a significant shareholder in the company. Oh, and a member of Joe Biden's transition team allegedly sits on the board of Smartmatic, a subsidiary of Dominion. If Dominion is so easily corrupted by outside forces, can you blame Americans for their concern at who might be pulling the strings? Something smells fishy. This is the United States of America, for crying out loud. We are not a banana republic. This isn't some far-fetched conspiracy theory. In 2016, an explosive investigation spearheaded by Princeton University professor Andrew Appel exposed just how easily this software can be corrupted. In his report, Appel outlines how a simple $4 computer chip can hack a machine to switch votes. 4 years ago, someone raised concerns, and yet here we are. Americans have lost faith in their ability to decide who represents them. This absolutely deserves an investigation. If we can spend years investigating fake Russia collusion claims, surely we can take a deeper look into all of these irregularities tied to Dominion. After all, if they have nothing to hide, they should have nothing to worry about, right? Or does that only apply to fake dossiers used to spy on President Trump's campaign? Americans should have confidence in the election process, and our officials that are elected must provide it. No amount of fraud is acceptable. We need a full, transparent, and independent election audit to make sure all legal votes are counted. 71 million Americans don't just deserve answers, we demand them.
Why should I say Simon Says?
Was the comment, rigged election, show signatures in envelopes, expose the massive voter fraud in Georgia? What is Secretary of State and Governor Kemp afraid of? They know what we'll find. That was his response to what you had to say. I found that stunning, even for him.
Did you really find it stunning?
I suppose one would have thought maybe he could have been silent. I mean, but it was an upping of the ante.
It's doubling down. But the thing is, if you watch President Trump or read his book, this is what you do. He's used everything very transactionally, and he's not going to back down from his position until he's absolutely forced to, and even then he will never admit he has backed down. This is what you're going to have to expect in the situation, and there are times when that is the correct position to take. But let's say you're fighting with China or something like that. But this is about the American democratic process. This is our election system that everyone has to have faith in at the end of the day. And yes, you should always be able to have due process and question outcomes if you see legitimate, real things need to be investigated. But the items that have been put in these lawsuits, especially the Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood suits, they're based in just another world of reality the rest of us don't live in.
Well, Gabe, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And thank you for speaking out, because I know it is hard. I know it's hard for your family. And I appreciate it. I hope everyone appreciates it. It's courageous to do it. Thank you.